Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Comms with Simsy podcast. This one is an absolute emergency because what the fuck has just happened with COD? This update, they get worse every time. I know that I am fairly known for moaning about things, but I still don't think there's been that many occasions where my moans haven't then turned out to be correct about what I was saying when it comes to the COD updates. They're so predictable on every one of their updates, and it's so obvious what's going to happen. But this one's taking it to whole like new leaps and bounds. So, for anybody that hasn't seen yet, or hasn't seen the roadmap, the update consists of a collaboration with, I think it's a TV show, I've never watched it, something called The Boys, that's based on superheroes. Now, first and foremost, that has nothing to do with Call of Duty, but for some reason, in every single game mode bar ranked, you can now pick up off the floor, and as well as like your dead silences and your munitions, a superhero field upgrade. One of which allows you to pick up something with laser eyes that allows you to hover and levitate in the air and laser with your eyes your opponents that are trying to shoot you in a Call of Duty. It's meant to be a realistic-ish arcade game. That's one of the effects. The other is that there's loads, but there's one that allows you to like jump really far across the map, and then when you land it causes splash damage to the enemies nearby. There's one that does like electric pulses and stuff, like almost like a giant DDoS by the look of it. Yeah, horrendous. I don't know what your guys' opinions of this were. I think the entire COD community, from the most part, from what I could see, seemed to be kind of against it. This sort of thing they've done in the past with these collaborations, and they've always been shite as far as I'm concerned, to the most extent in the more recent times. The only one that I enjoyed, well, I don't know, I think it was a collaboration. It must have been, there must have been a collaboration, because it would have been some kind of payment that they would have received, was the Brad Pitt and Rambo one, the Sylvester, Brad Pitt, it's completely the wrong guy, Bruce Willis and Bruce Willis, how could I forget? He's bald. A fellow bald man. And Sylvester Stallone, the Rambo kind of crossover with Nakatomi. That was sick. That one was actually a good update. I really enjoyed that. And looking back on it, it worked. Where it started to go wrong was Krampus in Caldera. Then the god-awful Godzilla King Kong one, which was awful, but was more fun than this will ever be. And a large amount of the issue with this is that it's in every game, but it's not like it's an LTM. At least the Godzilla Kong one was a separate mode that you could fly through Godzilla's sack, through his legs in an aeroplane if you wanted to on Caldera. But it was in a completely separate mode. Granted, Krampus wasn't. That was dog shit. We all said it was dog shit. But even now I look back at that and think, take me back to those times with this update, because holy fuck, this sucks. On top of that, they've put in a fully automatic shotgun, which granted does look terrible, but other than like people that play the game for, I'm not trying to be a dick, but probably the only people that wanted an extra fully automatic shotgun in probably don't play the game that much, which is fine, but they need to stop catering to that so much. Like, if you're only playing the game a couple of times, maybe a week, a month, why do we keep adding this shit in? Like, that's not your core audience. I don't understand why they keep doing it. On top of that, again, I don't know what the root cause of the issue is. I'm presuming, probably wrongly, because I'm not a dev, but the game for me today, I'm currently, as we record this podcast, downloading Warzone 1. Not because I want to play ranked, but I can't, because the game is literally unplayable due to the fact that there is now literally about 60 frames, and on a PC, it's just stuttery. You literally can't move. I'll try and walk forward and I'm just stuttering everywhere. I literally can't stream it today. So I've had to download an 88GB Warzone 1 to play that, which I really don't want to play. but it might be fun for a little bit, I guess. But that is not what we should be doing. How are we letting these updates continuously go out when they're shite? I don't understand how the makers or the dev teams that are pushing for these continuous updates that are just awful. I understand that this partnership with the boys, there is no way that that they've paid the boys for it, because most, like, it's not even, I don't think it's that big. I mean, I've never fucking heard of it. I know I'm not out of the loop with some stuff, but I mean, it's not fucking like it's like Fortnite's collab with Marvel. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not on the same level. COD have always got paid for every one of these collabs that they've done. The difference with the dev teams at COD, and the people that, as much as I don't like Fortnite, but I can only commend their success. The way that game is run, and Apex, compared to this game, is night and day. Fortnite, with the Marvel stuff, they paid Marvel for rights. COD gets paid for their collabs, which is why they're so shit. Like, it's just greediness, and that is just wrong. They see the game's viewership plummet. They see the game's player count drop, and they think, oh no, we're losing money. Let's just bring in something that's shit just to get an extra bit of injection of cash, to do nothing with that injection of cash other than just take dividends out of the company. Like, it's just, I don't understand. They've made so much money, but they could make so much more. It just doesn't make sense to me how this company runs. I don't know what your guys' experience so far has been with this update. I'd love to know what you guys are going through right now, because I literally can't play it. So yeah, I've gone back to Warzone 1 to stream today because I don't have a choice. I want to play COD, but I can't play that one. So I'll probably do a nostalgic stream after I finish recording this, and we'll play some Warzone 1. Don't know how that'll go. I'll probably be terrible, but it is what it is. And I was just so fed up with these devs. I've got more passion in me about COD, and I understand that this is all neg. There's some good changes in ranks, and there's a couple of UI fixes and stuff, but it's all changes and stuff that could have been in from the start. So I've always found it really hard to kind of glaze the positivity side of each update that they've done, because for the most part, most of the things that they bring in are stuff that should have been in already. The only thing that I will counter that with is Warzone Ranked coming out, because I love it. I absolutely adore Warzone Ranked. A lot of my community does play Warzone Ranked, but I would say more of it plays Resurgence still. For if they're not playing as often, it's probably more easier to just hop into a couple of games of Resurgence than it is to play Ranked. So what are you guys playing at the moment? Are you tending to play more Ranked? Are you tending to play more Resurgence? Or I'd love to ask you if you're playing solos, but we haven't had normal solos in the playlist for, I think it's a month now. It might be more, but it's around a month, which is just insane. I don't understand. There's always, solos always comes out, and it just leaves you to a point where you either are forced into Resurgence, you're forced into Plunder, which, I mean, I'm sorry, Plunder community, but what the fuck? Why do you like that shit? It's terrible. It's so bad. Yes, is my opinion, but sweet Jesus, serious? Shit sucks. But yeah, I've been tooting the horn for the entire month since Ranked has come out that I absolutely adore Ranked, but I really, really, really need them to bring out a Warzone Ranked solos mode, because for streaming, I understand it's different playing, but even if I wasn't streaming, I would struggle to play Ranked the whole time, because it's just so hard to find a team. And yes, you can play with randoms. Yes, I can play Ranked, but I don't want to play Ranked without a team, because otherwise I'm hurting my SR number. And I'm at a point where now I think my buy-in's like 100 minus 130 or something along those lines. So it's not worth it for me. I don't want to play and ruin that, to kind of ruin what I've got to. So that bit's a struggle for me, because I have to find a team. And I think that Warzone ranked solos, I'd love to know your thoughts on this, but I think Warzone ranked solos could be a big saving grace. At least, I don't know if that's a selfish thing to say. I don't think it is. It would be for me. Could sit there and play it for hours and hours a day. But I think ranked in terms of streaming at trios at the moment, it's really good to play with a team. I've played with a lot of different creators that I hadn't played with before. I played, I would say, at a better level than what I was before now. I feel a lot more comfortable now, even than when the start of rank came out. I feel like a better player. And I think a lot of you might feel the same. I think it's definitely improved that aspect. The only thing I will say is it can get... I mean, there's definitely been like loads of fallouts. Not with me personally, but there's definitely been loads of fallout during ranked. And it's at the point where people end up caring more about their SR than they care about, yeah, that guy's actually my mate. Like, I think a lot of those arguments would stop. And I think that side of things then in turn could make those people's streams more negative than what they would be if they were just sat there playing and not having to worry about the fact they've got to play with those people again the next day if they want to play ranked. Do you know what I mean? So if we had a Warzone ranked solos, I could literally hop on at any single time, sit there and stream ranked. It's hard to engage when you're playing trios because you're talking to your teammates, and on top of that, if you're not talking to your teammates, you're going to die and you're going to cost them SR. So it is harder to communicate with the chat as much and be rolling through the chat as I could when I was playing solos. And solos has always been kind of my forte. That's my thing. I've always streamed solos. Back on Blackout, I had the most kills in the world on solos on Blackout for almost the entire time that the game was out prior Warzone 1. Even when Warzone 1 came out, I'd played so many solos. This isn't to say I was amazing at solos. I was good at it. I was really good at the solos on Blackout. I was definitely up there. But I'd played a lot of solos, which is why my kill number was just way above everyone else's. To the extent that I think it was only about 6 months after Warzone 1 came out that I got overtaken for kills on Warzone 1 solos. That's how many more I had. And I would just sit there for 10 hours a day, jam with chat, we would vibe, and eventually I would get bored of it and need a team because it's quite mentally draining. But for the streaming side of things, it was great. So I would love to see that come out, and I think it would play really well. I don't know how you think Warzone solo rank would play. I think it would play amazing. There's no riot shields. They would have to change the way that the SR is laid out, and clearly it would need a separate leaderboard. It would have to have a separate leaderboard to the trios because it would play completely different. So it's 100% doable. It's 100% achievable for them to do it. I don't know how they would kind of work the SR now. I'm thinking about it. They would have to give you more for kills. And they'd also have to give you a little bit more, I don't know, because you're not getting your assists or taps. You're not getting that. So you'd have to get more SR for kills. And placement would probably have to be heavier, rewarded, but at the top end, I would imagine. Just to combat the fact that you're not going to get taps. Or, which is a dumb statement in the first place, how that is a thing, I have no idea. How do taps even exist in rank? Insane. But yeah, I think it could be amazing, and it would really help me out on a streaming side. And I know I'm not the only person with that. I literally have felt like a PA. I'm not even joking. I'm sitting there on Twitter. I'm like, somebody play with me. Like, please, I need a teammate. Somebody help me. And it's not as if I can just grab somebody in from chat, because once you got to a certain level, you can only play. So like, I'm at the moment, I'm iridescent, which is one below top 250. And I'm only able to play with people that are the level below me and above. So I can only play with crimson level, iridescent, and top 250. I can't play with anybody that's platinum, a diamond, gold, silver, bronze. I literally can't. So I can't just grab people and play, which is a struggle, which I just wouldn't have that issue with solos. So that could be great. Back to the update. I'm literally not able to play. I don't even know what to say. It's how we. It's also, by the way, this it's now 10:40 a.m. the next day UK time. The update dropped, I think, at 6 p.m. last night. Undo the update. If you cannot fix the update, revert us back. I don't know if it's because they've got this payment with the boys. I think that the superpowers are probably the thing that's fucked the game in terms of the frames, etc., made it unplayable. Either take it back. If you can't take it back, like, there has to be something that they can do, or anything. If they even, I don't even think they communicate much. Like, they never have. So I haven't even checked their Twitter, because what's the fucking point? It's just gonna say we're aware of an ongoing issue and we're looking into it. Like, that's all you ever get. It's just awful. The company is run so badly that I sit here and I think, what the fuck is the point? Like, I would love to sit here, and I know that there is a good chunk of you that watched me on Blackout. There's also a good chunk of you that didn't. But the fact that I still, to this day, hand on heart, like, no questions asked, I still to this day believe that Blackout is almost... Well, it's more than double as good, like, comfortably, in my opinion. It's more than double as good as Warzone, comfortably. You can hear footsteps across the other side of the map. There is a huge skill gap. Like, the TTK is high. It's not fast, it's a slow TTK. The gunfights are longer. It's a traditional BR in the sense that you have to heal yourself manually, pick up medkits, pick up all loot. You don't have loadouts, you have to build your guns. I.e. you'll land in with a gun with every gun on the floor has got well, actually, no, that's not true. Most of the guns on the floor, okay, all the guns that aren't in a crate have got no attachments on. You have to pick up the attachments as well. It's lootable attachments, so you build your gun up. All the guns had recoil, all of them, so you would be rewarded for having a good shot. Aim assist wasn't that strong. I actually played with aim assist off for the entire duration of Blackout, so even as a controller player, I wouldn't ever hear about M&K people moaning, because I never fucking had it. So that the argument would stop. I didn't run into any cheats because it was on fucking console. It was on PC, but it died very quickly. So it was basically a console stream game, which is why so many of us did so well out of Blackout, because we weren't competing against like all these massive streamers that were PC players, because it just didn't have a scene on it. And I just loved it, man. Don't get me wrong, there was shit that was wrong in it, but it was just the degree of stuff that was broken in that game compared to this is insane. Like, it's actually insane how good that game was, and it was made in 3 months. Like, Warzone 1 and Warzone 2, they had years of time like making this shit, and I said prior to Warzone 2 coming out that it would suck. I don't know why everybody was like so expectant of it being amazing. They literally released Warzone 2 without all the stuff that at the end of Warzone 1 in Caldera they told us that they actively told us that they were testing these things in terms of the TTK. We had Titanium Charles came out on the basis that they were testing the plate and health for Warzone 2. They brought out the balloons in Warzone 1 in Caldera. They brought out portable buy stations, redeploy tokens, gulag tokens, and yes, that stuff is in now, but it wasn't in on release. And it's like everybody gassed it when they started putting the balloons are great. They only then put them in Resurgence at the start. It's like, what are we doing all this testing for? I don't understand, like, where this all started in terms of Call of Duty BR to where it is now. It's like that. How have we progressively... Warzone 1 was better than Warzone 2. I don't understand how anybody could try and argue that. Warzone 1 was better for playing, enjoyment, viewership. Yes, again, opinion. I understand that. In my opinion, this is my tier list. Blackout, Warzone 1, Warzone 2. How would you order it? Would you order it the same way? A lot of people didn't play Blackout or didn't like it, so they'll probably go Warzone 1, Warzone 2, Blackout. But if you didn't play Blackout, it's kind of hard to say. But that's my order. If you didn't play Blackout, would you say Warzone 1 is better than Warzone 2? It's not even the whole slide cancelling thing. As much as I actually quite like the fact that I don't have to break my thumbs, which I'm going to do today, to slide cancel around everywhere. But there's a difference between having a silly slide cancel and having nothing really other than a dolphin dive and a smoke. Like, there's still not much finesse ability. We actually started Warzone 2 with the fact that you had to stand still and plate, on top of the fact there was no movement. It's like, they're all just... They don't know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've ranted a lot. And I apologise, but I don't really know how else to put it. It's all pretty shit, this update. The other thing that really irritates me, believe it or not, there's more, about this, is why we get these reloaded updates in the first place. Like, I've just downloaded a 22GB update to my game to be able to play it. I can't play it. And I've downloaded another 22 gigs in the middle of the fact that this is the middle of the season. I don't understand why they consistently do these mid-season updates. Why can they not just do it all at the start? Like, it's not really, like, I don't get why they call it mid-season. Like, just do it all in the first one. Do you know what I mean? Like, why do we have... It's when they do these things, like with Ranked. I think Ranked came out mid-season, and Vondel BR has come out mid-season. I think Vondel itself came out mid-season, if I'm not wrong, on the last one. It's like they tease all these things, and then they're like, yeah, well, we've done the Season 4 update, but we're not going to give you this until halfway through. It's like, all these things... Why? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? Sorry, I keep looking at... It's not my wall hacks. That's me seeing if I look like a twat, which I probably do. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I don't get it. And another thing, I don't play games on my phone, but COD Mobile, the success of Call of Duty Mobile versus Warzone is a joke. Like, it's so... I understand it's a different market. Like, I get all that. I completely get it 100%. But I am telling you now that if COD Mobile released on PC, clearly it would look different. If it released on console, nobody would play Warzone 1. Nobody would play Blackout. Nobody would play anything else. It would be insane. Like, it would be absolutely incredible. I don't even play it, and I know how good it is. Because it's largely COD Mobile is kind of proved what I've been saying since I first touched Blackout. When I first played Blackout, trust me, I loved it. I loved that game. But I remember sitting there, and I've said it the whole time through Warzone 1, the whole time through Blackout, the whole time through Warzone 2, that for a company that loves money as much as Activision or Raven or whatever you fucking want to say, the makers of COD, I don't understand how they haven't looked at that game and released a BR for COD that is similar. Like, when you think about what it is, all I've said the entire time for the perfect COD BR is for them to go back and not give us these like shitty remakes that we've got at the moment. Like, Al Mazrah City is a shit version of High Rise. There's literally, some of you won't even know this, it's that bad. Some of you will, but there's literally a part of Al Mazrah that has Rust in it. The old school map Rust, 1v1 me on Rust. That map, that is literally a part of I can't even think off the top of my head what the name of the Tarak. Like, it's near Tarak and Rohan. It's like in between. Like, we get all these shit remakes. To me, and in my opinion, they would make a fuck ton of money if they made a COD BR similar to COD, the way COD Mobiles were run, is if they did rotations of... Okay, I'll get to the rotations bit in a bit. But say they released a... No, I will do season. Okay, seasonal, right? So you have your seasons or quarters. Let's just say quarters for seasons. That they could have a Modern Warfare themed BR for one season, where you've got the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so like COD 4, the original one, the one that got remastered, maps and guns, mixed with Modern Warfare 2 maps and guns, like actual High Rise, Favela, Scrapyard, the actual Rust, like, I don't know, think of all the fucking maps and guns, the intervention, the UMP, from COD 4, the M16, the M40A3 sniper, like all the old school guns. And Modern Warfare 3, like you got the ACR, and as well as on Modern Warfare 2, like the TAR, all those old school guns, the old school maps from Modern Warfare 3, Dome, like we've got a shipmate Dome, like in this. To be fair, that's probably the most accurate one, but imagine all of those maps and they compile that into a working BR map. The guns on the floor are all those sort of guns. That's one season. Then the next season, you've got a Black Ops themed, one where it's Black Ops, the same principle, but Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, maps and guns. Black Ops 3 would be an interesting one, or maybe you take the Black Ops one out and they do a season where it's jetpacks or something. I know some people didn't like it, but I fucking loved it. The skill gap was insane. It was fun. Like, you could have one season or a different mode or something. There's a jetpack mode where you do that in BR. Like, there's so much more that they could be doing, and tapping into the fact that COD used to be so good and now it's clearly not the same. Like, it doesn't take me to sit here and tell you that COD's numbers are nothing, actually nothing compared to what it was before, back in the good old days. And the fact that we all sit and cry even for Verdansk, when, I'm not being funny, but almost all of us towards the end of Verdansk were begging for a new map. And the moment a new map dropped, typical, we all sit there and say we want Verdansk back. Verdansk wasn't actually that good of a map, but compared to this, it's shit. Like, it's insane how good Verdansk would be compared to everything here. I would quite like it back. I don't even think Al-Mazrah is a bad map. It's just they just don't do anything with it. Like, you look at the dead space behind Rohan and Tarak. There's literally a fucking blackout map behind it. There's so much space. Like, all these things that they have, like they always start off with a good base. It's like the same with Caldera. They did the same thing. If you actually think about the POIs in Caldera, it wasn't that bad. It was the actual locations of Caldera. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of the superstore equivalent. Peak was just in the wrong spot. The whole map of Caldera didn't work based on the fact that Peak was in the middle. If you take out, I'm trying to think of the names. If you take out Peak, put it where Runway was, on the side of the map. You put Runway next to Resort, because that makes sense. And you put Capital, which is next to Resort. You put Capital in the middle, where Peak is. Peak goes to the side, where the runway is, near the water. You put it there, and then you put the runway next to Resort, because the runway was like not really a POI in the first place. And you put that down next to the Resort, which makes sense. And then you put Capital in the middle. That map would have actually fucking probably killed it. Like, that map would have been really good. It could have been a different game entirely. And because of those reasons, we've all sat there and talked about nostalgia. And I think the COD fans love the nostalgic stuff. I think we all do. Like, there's a bit of us. It might not even work out in the end, but I can guarantee you that if they did consistent changes where they did things, and even, I understand that it was a bit grey and some people don't like it, but you could have a World War 1, 2 themed, I don't know if that one, I mean, that wouldn't really make sense, but you could have a, you know what I mean, like the older style games, like the World War 2, the Vanguards and stuff like that, the Cold War and all stuff. You could have like a different season for that as well. There's just a lot more that they could be doing, and to sit and say before anybody says, but yeah, that's too much for them to do. No, it's not. Like, it's really not, because they're a multi-billion pound AAA company. They could do that. They're just so fucking lazy that they wouldn't. And I don't understand when they consistently have issues that they make the game worse every time. It's like when the player count drops and they reduce the dedicated server amount to the point now where there is not, I think there's only 2 or 3 dedicated servers. It's like, yeah, but we don't need them anymore because the player counts drop. Yeah, but now for the people that are playing your game, they're getting a worse experience. It's laggy, which means that more people are then stopping to play the game because they've got packet bursts constantly and they're lagging and they're losing gunfights over stupid shit that they wouldn't have if you still had the dedicated servers, and they might enjoy the game more and bring their mate in to play COD. Like, it's all these things in turn that are just slowly, and do you know what, I don't even think it's slowly anymore. Like, this update has literally typified to me how wank and how little these guys that work for them are. And I've said every single update, even during Warzone 1, that they should be testing the updates before. There's no way I understand, again, it's more effort, but they can fucking do it. They're loaded. They are loaded. They could employ a test it. I would fucking test it. All the players, all the streamers would test it. Like, anyone, just give somebody the chance to test these updates before you release them. Like, shouldn't even affect the game. We could literally tell you what's wrong with it, or doesn't it have to be us? Like, anyone. I'm just saying. Like, I'm just trying to give an avenue. All these updates should be tested prior to release, and it sucks because as much as I'm sitting here and I'm moaning, I still will play it. And that's literally because as much as I sit here and will shit talk on this game because I think the devs are useless, or no, it might not even be the devs. The devs are probably just doing what they've been told. But you know what I mean? Like, the guys that are doing it, making these decisions, just don't have a clue. I think they're ruining the game, and it's sucking out some passion, and it makes you moan about it. But I know what the game could be if it was run correctly. That's what pisses me off. It's like, you go back to the Vonderhaar days, and I remember seeing a tweet not that long ago of somebody that tweeted the message that came up on Christmas Day when you loaded up, I think it was Black Ops 1, and it was a message from Vondi and COD that when you loaded into the game, it literally came up saying, don't go too hard on the Christmas noobs. That was the message of the day. And now we play a game where, yes, now we've got ranked, so it's kind of somewhat removed, but you're punished for being a decent player for the most part, and like, your experience is that you have to be locked in every time because there's skill-based matchmaking and all this shit. It's a bit different in ranked. Ranked is ranked, but all these different things, it's like, it's just a completely different era. It's like we're just wasting what could be so much better. It could be so much better in terms of player base. It could be like popping in terms of viewer base, and it could be just a more of a money maker for them. It's just, I personally, it's again, all these different things and changes that they could do. It's like $24 for a different weed skin every week. I go on about that all the time. They're obsessed with weed. I don't understand it. It's like, something's going wrong, we're not making enough money. Oh, I'll just chuck them another weed skin and like a fucking animation that when you open a car door, some smoke comes out and shit. It's like, all these things are just awful. It's, every skin on here is overpriced. I saw one the other day that was, I probably should bring it up, but it is what it is. There was literally a $15 skin or something that was for porcelain. The actual bundle was called like the porcelain pack, and it's like, you get a camo for your gun that looks like a fucking plate or an old school Greek bathroom or some shit. It's like, who is making this and who is paying for it? I don't understand it. Look at EA, right? I've been saying they should do this for years. If you take EA's model, that even in fucking player clubs, or even on Tiger Woods' PGA Tour from fucking years ago, that you could build your own character. If you had a basics of building the character, and then you could buy stuff in the store that was like, you could buy shoes, you could buy this hat, you could buy this watch, you could buy these gloves, you could buy this tattoo or whatever, you could do all these different things, they would probably make more off of that, and do better off of that. You could even do brand deals and things, like, you could, like, they would probably get to the point where they got companies coming to them like, oh, Nike want to sponsor them, like, they'll sell Nike skins and stuff, and we'd only pay like a few quid for each one, but they'd probably sell so much more. It's like, what the fuck, how are we not doing these things? And it's just painful to me. I don't really get how these sort of things are still not in the game. It's bewildering and confusing to me that they're letting it go this downhill. But yeah, I've kind of rambled a lot, as always, and hopefully it comes across to the point where it's just kind of like, I'm fed up of it. But what has your experience been of this update? What do you think they should do next? I mean, there's so much still wrong with it there's more that I haven't told you about that I could go into in terms of audio and all this crap, but we'll save it for another rant. Hopefully this is still enjoyable, because I am essentially just rambling. But what's your experience so far? Have you enjoyed it? What do you think of the update? If you haven't, please do drop a like on the video. Drop a sub if you are new. And I don't know what I'm going to do on the next podcast, but I'm probably going to do something that's definitely not to do with COD. I think you guys have been enjoying the kind of backstories in streaming. I could do more of that. I am going to do some football talk and things like that as well. So that's to come. But hopefully you enjoyed the pod. Hopefully you're enjoying these series. And drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, because I feel like there's a lot we could talk about here in the chat or the comment section. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.